This is a special update from Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert with a very quick report today. As you can tell, I'm not in studio, not at home either. I'm in Springfield, Missouri, recording this on Tuesday afternoon as I'm preparing to fly to Canada tomorrow morning, weather permitting. We're getting 12 to 16 inches of snow here in the Ozarks, so we'll see if the flights leave on schedule. But I'll be speaking at a men's discipleship weekend at a Bible camp in rural Manitoba, the Valley View Bible Camp in McGregor, Manitoba, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So no updates tomorrow, Thursday or Friday, but I did want to touch on a couple of stories here this afternoon, things that we are following. And if there's anything that breaks and I get a few moments where I can record something, I will. Also, because we're traveling light, I don't have the equipment with me that I normally would use to edit the daily 5 and 10 updates. But this week, we see that the Department of Government Efficiency, which I've been talking about a lot on 5 and 10 recently, DOGE, that's Elon Musk's army of nerd warriors who are going in and analyzing databases to find out who in the government is spending money on what, where it's been going. And they announced on Monday that thus far they have saved the U.S. taxpayers an estimated $55 billion thus far. That is as of February 17th. So less than a month in action, and they've found and stopped about $55 billion worth of payments that were fraudulent, that were unnecessary, that were duplicitous, whatever. $55 billion in cost cutting thus far. In addition, DOGE announced on Tuesday that they found $4.7 trillion in disbursements by the US Treasury Department. 4.7, that's trillion with a T. $4.7 trillion in payments that are almost impossible to trace. Why? Because those who entered these payments into the Treasury system did not code them with what they call Treasury Access Symbol Identification codes. Where is the money going? Why is this being spent on this? And because they were not coded, they cannot be traced. They don't know what the money is going for, where it is going. $4.7 trillion. It'll be interesting to see if we can claw back some of that money. Now, we do know that a number of programs, non-government organizations, run by non-government organizations, NGOs, some of which are not based here in the United States, that were funded by USAID, USAID, U.S. Agency for International Development, which, as I've said before, is in many countries just a cutout, a front for the Central Intelligence Agency and programs that it wants to do so that they don't look like intelligence operations. This is causing a number of NGOs in Europe to go running to Brussels and the European Union. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban has said, look, you're getting some, with the Trump administration cutting off billions of dollars in funding to some of these NGOs, you get guys like George Soros, who has been collecting money from the United States government for decades. The George W. Bush administration, a Republican administration, 20 years ago was sending money to the Open Society Institute, George Soros's NGO, to effect regime change in Ukraine and other places in Eastern Europe. So according to Orban, and I'm quoting now, warning, our fears have come true. The globalist liberal Soros NGO network is fleeing to Brussels after President Trump dealt a huge blow to their activities in the U.S. Orban posted this to X on Tuesday. Now, 63 of them are in Brussels asking for money under the guise of various human rights projects. Not going to happen. We will not let them find safe haven in Europe. The USAID files expose the dark practices of the globalist network. We will not take the bait again, end quote. It will be interesting to see how this story plays out. And speaking of the European Union, I told you yesterday about the emergency summit called by France's President Emmanuel Macron after J.D. Vance on Friday at the Munich Security Summit said, there's not going to be a good answer for Ukraine. They need to come to the table, negotiate peace with Russia, and, well, forget it. We're just going to go negotiate directly with Russia and cut Ukraine and you, Europe, out of the negotiations. So again, Macron invited other European leaders to Paris to discuss what to do, where the UK's Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said he is prepared to send British troops to Ukraine to keep the peace. To which I think the rational response is, are you insane? Starmer, I don't know what he thinks he's trying to accomplish. I don't think he's actually planning to do it. I think this is him just trying to score points in the media by looking tough, but I just don't think that's going to play well in Moscow. Anyway, there is a summit coming in Saudi Arabia hosted by Mohammed bin Salman, featuring delegates from the United States and Russia. Again, as I said, this really just acknowledges what everybody has known for a long time, but nobody wants to say out loud, that the war between Ukraine and Russia is a proxy war between Russia and the West. And now that there's been a changing of the guard in Washington, D.C. with President Trump pushing the neocons behind the Joe Biden administration out of the way, maybe this war will finally come to an end. Sadly, had the European Union, and especially former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, not talked Zelensky out of negotiating for peace 3 years ago, Ukraine could have had a better deal then than it's going to end up with now. Again, I will be traveling by the time you watch this. We'll be speaking 8 times over the course of the next few days at the Valley View Bible Camp in McGregor, Manitoba. And unless something really big breaks, this will be our last report for the week. We'll be flying back to the Ozarks on Monday, and at the very latest, we'll talk to you again on Tuesday morning. Again, barring something major, which we pray doesn't happen. Until then, do take advantage of the special offer this week on the new book by our good friend L.A. Marzulli. We're talking about Rungs of Disclosure. That's the program this week on Skywatch TV, which I was honored to host. Sat in for Joe Artis Horn and really enjoyed our time with L.A. Marzulli and Vicki Joy Anderson sitting on panel this week. You can watch it right now at skywatchtv.com. You can catch it on our Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV channels. Of course, our broadcast schedule, if you watch over the air, is posted at skywatchtv.com/channels. If you want to watch over the internet, you can do that, rumble.com/skywatchtv, YouTube at Skywatch Television. Please subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, and hit the like button. And then please download our free mobile app, which brings all of our content right to your smartphone or tablet. iOS, Android, Amazon, Kindle, Fire. We've got apps for all of those. And links to the app stores at skywatchtv.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert in Springfield, Missouri for Skywatch TV.